What is up, everybody? So good to see everybody here tonight. We are here on First Friday, and we are very, very glad that you guys are here with us. I hope everyone had a great time out in Florida. Tonight, we have a really, really awesome guest, somebody who will be the first person to be on this show 3 times, and that is Cornell Herg from EMAX. EMAX USA. Cornell is out in California, and I've really enjoyed working with him, getting to know him, having him on the show. And he is an OG drone pilot, by the way. So if you want to have questions for somebody who is an OG drone pilot, Cornell would be a great person to start with. Now, we're going to spend some time talking about the EMAX Babyhawk 2 HD, which I am absolutely in love with. And we are also going to talk about a couple of other drones, maybe talk a little bit about what's going on with the Air unit, the DJI Air unit, because there's some conversations about whether that's going to continue. We're also going to take a look at some pictures that I have from the Florida meetup, which Captain Ray Kelly put on, which is awesome. And so we got a lot going on tonight. But before we start on all that, we have a very, very special guest in the house tonight. And I'm going to just go ahead and give you a clue who it is. His first name starts with C, but you can call him Doc.
Yay! Hey guys.
What's up, Doc?
We are in from the Florida trip, heading home finally.
And you know, what's up, Doc? That sounds like Bugs Bunny or something, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So you have been on the road. Tell us all the places you've been over the last couple of days.
Started from New Mexico Wednesday last, and started heading down to the Florida meetup, and made the drive in 2.5 days down to Florida. Got in on Friday, and went and did my thing down at DroneWorks, and made my rounds at Race Day Quads and Rotor Riot. And then went to the meetup on Saturday. And then early Sunday morning, about 3 a.m., after the meetup was all done, I headed on up to Atlanta, Georgia, and met up with Ciotti FPV, and got a chance to fly with him and his crew out there. Then drove out to Huntington, Tennessee, got to meet up with Ken Herron in person. Didn't get a chance to fly with him. He wasn't feeling too well when I got there that day. He was a little under the weather. And from there, we headed on out to... Fort Smith, Arkansas, and met up with 400 AGL, Mel.
400 AGL!
Yay! And Mel and I got a chance to fly for 5 hours. We had a blast. And from there, he told me, well, Lloyd Mendenhall is just an hour and a half away. And it's like, well, I'm a day ahead on my trip. It's like, okay. So I drove on up to Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Muskogee.
Muskogee is one of them. I forget. It's Oklahoma. So got to meet up with Lloyd Mendenhall up there, and him and I got to fly for 3 hours, and he actually got to get under the goggles for the first time and absolutely loved it. And I have pictures of him flying his own drone, so yes, he does fly, so everybody can stop saying he doesn't fly drones. And from there, I headed on down here to Austin to go to the meetup for Saturday, and I've been down here since Thursday. So I've been just kind of taking my time and relaxing a little bit from the long drive. So all totaled, I'll have somewhere around about 3,500 miles driving in.
Wow.
So it has been a long trip, but it's been fun.
We are super glad to have Doc here. And I know we've got Cornell waiting here to join. But before he does, real quick, I want to give a big shout out to everyone who went out to Florida, because I've heard nothing but great things about the meetup. You said there were, about 40 people there?
We had about 40, 50 people total, yeah. I don't know what the exact count was. Ray Kelly, I don't even know if he's got an exact count on it, but it's somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and so let's just take a quick look at some of the pictures. Actually, there's Lloyd from when you were... That's from when you were flying in Muskogee. And I only know it's Muskogee, or say Muskogee, because of the great song by Ray Wiley Hubbard, where at the end he says, Muskogee, Oklahoma,
something like that,
USA! Yeah. We got
there he is.
Oh yeah, we got Lon there, and we got, is that Dobo in the background?
Got a lot of good guys in there.
Yeah, we got Bill with Metro Drones back there repping, and I got to hit take. So I'm playing with the new switcher, by the way.
Shout out to Bill though, Metro Drones. Him and I got to go out after the meetup, right before we had dinner on Saturday night. And I got to fly the DJI FPV drone. Got to fly his. He let me fly it for a little bit. Put a battery through it.
And you said it was different. Yeah. You said it was
different.
A little different experience.
It's not bad or good in that sense, because I'm an FPVer. It literally took me about 3 minutes just to figure out how to get it to move.
Yeah, it's especially when you're not in acro mode. When you're flying it in one of the stabilized modes, it's a weird thing to fly. It's
absolutely
different. Well, we also have a great picture here of Artco Drone Solutions. I don't know if Art's in the house. I'm trying out a new switcher, by the way, and so sorry for the switch glitches. You'll see a few of those tonight, but I am learning.
So I'm looking in the chat right now. I haven't seen. There he is. Yeah, he's there.
Hey, Art.
Hey, Art.
Good to see you, man. On picture and in the chat. A couple more pictures here.
Yeah, there he is.
And then it was there was a moment where someone actually put their drone into the water, right?
Yes, the DJI FPV drone went into the drink.
And someone fished it out.
Yep, Mark, he's from the Rhode Island group that came down.
And so also there is a video of that whole thing happening.
Yes.
If you want to check it out, it's actually on Captain Ray Kelly's Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly, I believe is the name of his channel. So if you haven't subscribed to him, you should, because he has a video where everybody's watching from the shore.
Oh, yeah.
This guy goes into the water, swims around, and finds the drone and pulls it up.
Yep, he fished it out
like a hero. And so actually tomorrow there is a meetup going on down in New Braunfels, and that's part of, oh, by the way, hold on, before we get to that, I got to show my brother Brad here, because look at those guns.
Oh, yes.
I've never seen Brad in a tank top before, but I'm a little impressed, Brad. Wait, he's been working out or something. So I hope Brad's in the chat. If he's not, I'm going to be really bummed. But
I haven't noticed yet.
Anyway, so
yeah, there he is.
Nice guns, Brad. Without further ado, let's bring Cornell in.
Yes,
and I definitely want to be sure to acknowledge again the awesomeness of the product that just came out from these guys. The Tiny Hawk, or the Baby Hawk 2, really fun to fly, super smooth. You guys should watch my review of it if you haven't already. Cornell, welcome.
Hey, Kelly, dog.
Oh,
hello, Cornell.
Hold on.
Sure.
I see him.
Hold on, we're not hearing you just yet. Let me add. Sorry, we did do a test. I promise.
We tried to test it.
Promise we did a test.
It worked great.
We're still figuring it out.
Like always.
That's always the case, right? Okay, Cornell's there, here, and
hey, Dennis, love lady.
Clear that layer. Go here, and Cornell.
Down in Florida, and what she asked me to buy was one of these, and that's the Autel Evo 2 6K. So the problem was it wasn't complete when I purchased it. So when I made my trip up to Ken Heron, we appropriately eyeballed it. So it is now complete. Hasn't flown yet. It is all updated. It's all ready to go. We are going to test fly it, put the maiden flight on it tomorrow morning. So for everybody, this is one heck of a piece of equipment, guys. Let me tell you.
All right, I think I got it sorted here.
All right. Yes. Can you hear me? Testing. Okay. Testing. If you guys can hear me in the YouTube stream, go ahead and comment that you can hear me, so that we know. Okay, it's just video. Dude, really? Live streaming, man. You guys can hear me? Awesome. Can you guys see me? Okay. Awesome. Sure. You guys hear me, but nobody else. Can we get a confirmation on that? I saw comments on that. Yeah, let me check.
Okay, check.
Yeah, he's checking.
Tap. Yeah, we should.
Okay.
I think we should be able to hear me and
hear
now talk
Cornell?
for us, Cornell.
Yep, testing. You guys hear me, and then you guys also hear Kelly and Doc.
You
Cannot
Cornell?
hear Kelly and Doc.
okay.
Only Cornell?
Okay.
Yeah, they're just hearing me now.
Okay. Well,
That's interesting.
let me do this.
Welcome to live streaming.
I
guys.
love
Let me
live
tell
streaming.
you,
Sorry, guys.
if you've ever tried live streaming, I guarantee you this is what it's like. It's
Okay.
always something.
Okay. Now
Makes me think about like TV production back in the
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Now I think everyone should be able to hear us.
Okay.
day. All right,
How are
you
we
guys
doing?
are saying it's good.
Okay.
All good now.
Chris.
Awesome.
By the
Okay,
way,
you can hear
Sunrise
all three of
Water
us?
Media is here.
Okay.
You can hear both
Can't
of us.
hear top right. So can you guys hear Doc? Just making
Yeah,
sure.
everybody can hear me?
Yeah. Okay. All good now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I think we're
Awesome.
good. Yay.
Sweet.
Well, so Cornell, you were on probably 2 or 3 months ago. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I
Always
know.
awesome to be here.
I remember actually. I think the last time you were on, I had just received the Baby Hawk 2 HD, and we couldn't talk about it because it hadn't launched yet. And
Yeah.
I was just like, but now it has launched. And I will tell you with all sincerity, and anybody who watches that video, it's a bind and fly. So I believe you can bind it to the DJI system, right, with the Caddx Vista, or you can get it with a FR Sky receiver, right?
And also TBS as well. We offer that. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Nico?
also our first TBS product. Yeah.
We're getting a double audio,
Getting it.
Kelly.
Okay, double audio. Let me just
Okay.
see what's going on with that. Oh, I think I know what that is. Okay.
Kelly got a new toy.
I did. I got a new switcher, and
Yep.
I'm trying it now. Is that better?
Okay. We just got to test the echo.
There's like that 20-second YouTube delay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
yes.
delete that. Okay. That should help. That should help. Check. 1, 2, 3. Sorry guys, this is on me. But I know the two sources I have right now are my mixer and Cornell, and that's all I
That should
have.
be all we should have.
And the reason we were getting the echo is because I had our mixer in 2 layers, but it should be better. now.
Okay.
Is it better, Chris? Okay.
Okay, now we're good.
Okay. So that thing came out. How has it been received by the FPV community, Cornell?
Background music?
All right. I mean, let me just say, this thing is
Background
absolutely the most. Is there background music?
Yeah, I'm gonna just delete everything with music on it too. So there, everything that had music on it is now gone. So
There we go.
there should not be an issue.
Well, so honestly, this is probably the most exciting product for me, at least, that we've released in a long time. Just like my personal opinion, and I am just so happy it's been really well received by the community, because we spent 2.5 years of R&D on this thing, and that's where in this podcast I have some exclusive behind the scenes prototypes to show you guys to just kind of talk about the progress of how we kind of came to the Baby Hawk 2 HD, because at EMAX we really do try to focus on quality and maximizing good user experiences, and I think this is one of those products where that really shows how all those 2.5 years of R&D actually paid off, which, I mean, in the FPV community, that's generally unheard of for a company to invest that many years of resources into a single product.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
for us to do it at EMAX, and it's paying off really well, I think is just really exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, I watched other people's reviews of it. Nerk loved it, I know, and again, it is really fun. It's interesting too, because I was flying the DJI FPV and that one kind of in the same time period for the first time. And they're such different animals, right? They're just so that the EMAX is just so light and nimble and agile and just, just turns on a dime, and it's quiet, and it just, I mean, you can fly it. As a matter of fact, Chris, who's Sunrise Water Media, who's here tonight with us, he was out in the parking lot, and I was flying all around him in my review video of it and going under bushes. And I think Cornell, you did see my review. Did you see it when it caught that curb under the bush and flipped through the air and then landed on the that was crazy. That was not the only time I did that to it. I did it so many times, and it still just took a beating and just kept on flying. The only thing that was damaged was the props, and so it really the thickness of that carbon fiber that's on it. So it's a 4.5 millimeter. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. We just went absolutely ham on the thickness of it because
it's so thick.
Durability, man, that's like the key. Everyone wants a reliable drone that they can like bash around and stuff, and especially when it's us at EMAX trying to literally create an entire new classification of FPV drone. We really realize like reliability has to be one of the key things we focus on.
And Doc, I don't know if you know, this thing is sub 250 grams. So that's
what I heard.
It's 243 or something like that. Now I did throw an action camera on it. I threw an Insta360 Go on it, and it put it over. But it handles that Insta360. I actually didn't have a chance to put a full size GoPro, but it'll hold it, right?
Yeah, it'll carry, and you'll get kind of more like Cinewhoop style flying with it. So it's great as like a flexible platform. So if you are looking for like that cinematic piloting in a small package, you can still get that out of this small of a platform.
And really the thing that I think it impressed me so much with it was how quiet it is, how quickly it gets up in the air. It's like feather light, but with a 4S battery, that's the kind of size and weight that I would expect to have a 3S on, and so it goes. It's a little beast. So Cornell, you mentioned also about kind of redefining that space. Do you guys feel like that sub 250 gram is kind of where things are going?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is the entire industry has been wanting to get smaller over time. Like, I mean, for those who've been flying a long time, we'll remember that the very first FPV drones were like, 7-8 inch props, and then things kept getting smaller to 6 inch and then 5 inch. And that's kind of where people found the happy medium of a small drone that can still carry the weight of an action camera.
And action cameras are getting lighter too, so in fairness.
Exactly. Like
unless you go with the GoPro
9s. But like just following the overall trends, FPV has always wanted to get as small as possible. With the rise of like tiny whoops and then smaller, like our Nanohawk and stuff, people want to have this full-scale like jet pilot experience in as small of a package as possible. And that's always been the goal of FPV and the direction the technology is going. And especially now with FAA regulations clamping down and things, that's where we were like, okay, if that's going to be the standard, we want to create a new class of drone that is as big as you can get while still retaining that under 250 gram limit, while being able to carry an HD payload, because that's definitely where the technology is going. HD offers a way more immersive experience, and you can capture like decent looking DVR, and that will only improve over time as the technology gets better. So 3.5 inch, after so many years of R&D, is what we found to be that perfect middle ground of efficiency, performance, and still carrying a heavier than normal payload versus an analog setup, while still retaining a ton of flight time. I mean, this thing, I in our marketing, I put 7 minutes, but I know a lot of reviewers are saying they got 8-9 minutes. There was Nerd getting 20 minutes of flight.
He put a lithium ion on it and got Digital to the goggles. Back from the Sky asked about having problems. I just saw, actually, I think it was Matt mentioned or somebody, that there was a question from Back of the Sky, having problems hooking up the new EMAX digital drone to goggles. Why? I mean, that's a bit of a broad question, right? So
I think it depends on which version goggles.
Oh, yeah. Well, it should work with V1 or V2, right?
It should work with both, but I believe the first batch of the V2 goggles, you had to activate it using the drone, but they did a software update to fix that issue.
Well, I think you actually have to go in, if you're using like a Caddx or an Air unit, you have to go into the menu and it. Is this still the same where it changes back to the old, the way the version 1 goggles, like the UI for the version 1 goggles?
I'm not sure. I haven't tried the V2 goggles personally.
Okay.
But
Back to
binding
the Sky says drone bum can hook up to the quad, but he can't make any changes, and his goggles will not record. So I'm not sure about that one.
I would also say, make sure you got a card in them, of course. That's pretty obvious. But as far as being able to can't make any changes and the goggles will not record, yeah, I don't know. That would be something. That would be something. I don't think that would be something wrong with the. Well, I would wonder if that's true for other drones as well, or if it's just happening on yours, because I would think it's the goggles.
Yeah, it would either be the goggles or maybe just the Caddx system and maybe like software updates, because DJI is very software heavy. I would say if anyone has any issues, we at EMAX USA do pride ourselves in top tier customer service, because I know that's something that severely lacks in a lot of the FPV industry, and that's something that we strive towards breaking that mold. So if you guys do have issues, do go to EMAX USA, go to the support tab and open a ticket, and we have a team that's going to help you out.
And if you don't, I'm going to put Cornell's phone number right here on the...
Taking calls live. Let's go.
Just text him. Just text him.
Kelly could make that happen.
Well, so I do want to jump over there. I want to go back to the Baby Hawk in a second, but before we do, the trend about going smaller, right? Doc's got quite the opposite thing going on here. You want to show him what you got going on?
Yeah, Cornell's seen it before the show started, but a lot of the FPVers out in Florida got to see it. This is the only 7-inch Excalibur in existence. This is a plus configuration, and it is running EMAX motors. They are very, very good for this, and it runs on 5S. And everybody who's seen it is amazed at how fast and nimble it is for its size. So, and it weighs only 35 grams more than my 5-inch copter weighs. Yeah,
running 2306 motor swinging 7-inch, which that's really surprising to me. That's crazy.
Well, and here's the really funny thing is we just discovered earlier is that those are EMAX motors.
Yes, those are EMAX Eco motors.
So that's kind of funny that they are. I don't know why I have this blue thing in the background, but again playing
live streaming.
Well. I think I told you I got the new ATEM switcher, and so I was trying to do the
Kelly's got the big fancy one,
the Super Source. See if I can hold this sucker up.
I'm jealous because I've just got the regular ATEM at home.
Well, see, I get to write this off as a business expense. So
yes,
there you go.
And actually, those guys back there should be using it, but hork it for us. Anyway, so Cornell, back to the. EMAX, did you know, and I don't know if you can share this or not, but you've heard the thing about DJI actually stopping production of the Air units, right? Is that something you were aware of?
No, that's definitely more. We found out at the same time. For us, we're more in talks with Caddx, and Caddx has assured us that the Air unit for them is not going to go away anytime soon. They're still going to be producing that. What DJI has in plan, that's your guess is as good as mine.
But that's pretty fortunate actually that you put the Caddx unit in, not a full size Air unit actually.
Yeah. Well, that was something like we toyed with. because we were playing with the HD like back when it first came out, and this is one of our first prototypes.
Ooh.
So it's completely different than like the current modern Baby Hawk 2 HD.
Let me see if I can put you full screen here.
Yeah. Sure. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is one of the prototypes. The thing is this drone went through so many different changes. It's kind of crazy. This was like about the third revision. So that's what you're seeing here. Yeah, so the goal was always top mounted battery because for I mean, all right, I personally like bottom mounted battery as far as performance goes.
That's bottom mounted.
As far as takeoff and landing and just being
it's
a general...
the durability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like beginners, they don't want to be like, destroying their batteries all the time. And even advanced pilots, like if we can save money, like why not, right? So it was always like top mounted. And yeah, the frame design, as you can tell, just definitely really bizarre because this was adapted from an earlier prototype that actually ran 2 cameras because the idea was always to capture HD footage of some sort from the beginning. So it was always built with a HD platform in mind. And then when DJI's HD system came out, we started adapting in that direction. And the problem with this is, it's a lot heavier. It had to run bigger motors. It ran the 1407s that we make, and just flight time wasn't as great. The performance wasn't EMAX quality. The arms are a lot thinner, and they were exchangeable, which is really nice. But we eventually went unibody because we were able to get a lot stronger and lighter weight to hit our specs that we were going for. So a much later prototype we had was this guy. So let me get a close up here. So you can already see it's starting to get into the direction of the current Baby Hawk 2 HD. But the frame design's pretty different. But with this model, we switched to the unibody design using like this dual arm V shape, increased durability while keeping weight down as low as possible. We had the stack originally in the center just under the battery, but that caused like heat things, and we wanted to make sure that heat wasn't going to be an issue for the product, so that's what pushed it down further back in the later design. And over time, that's how we got to the final Baby Hawk 2 HD. Wow. So having the Caddx system in the back with a vent right here, having like a 3D printed GoPro mount that we have the files available on EMAX USA, but you can print that yourself. But we will be carrying that in stock soon, and we're down to 1404 motors for more flight time and efficiency, and that's kind of how we have the Baby Hawk 2 HD today.
Did you guys even have the Insta360 Go in mind when you were developing it? Because that's a fairly new camera.
Yeah, so we have the first Instago available as a 3D printed module or a 3D printed thing that you can attach. So we do have that on the website. We do not have the Go 2 because that literally just came out,
but I think
that wasn't something we were aware
of. I think it's
of.
exactly the same size.
I heard it was a little thicker, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know now.
I don't know for sure, but
okay.
and Chris, let me know if you're hearing everything okay now. But in Nerk's review, he actually used the little clip, the little hat clip or whatever it is for the new 2, and he just clips it right there in front sideways. I was mounting it up with a 3D printed, just a little TPU mount that has a strap on it.
Doing it like vertically?
Yeah, vertically.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's two funny things about that. Number one is if you're going through something and you forget that that's sticking up, you tend to hit the camera. That happened to me several times. And then number two, when you do a roll, it's because of stabilization. You don't actually see the roll. So there were a couple of times in my video where there's a cable, like the balance cable was showing or something, just kind of in the corner of the shot, and you just see it go around in a circle like that, but the shot is still totally stabilized. So that was just kind of funny. I was like, oh, I guess I should do front flips if I want to give that.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just a little beast. And let's say I crashed it into a fence. I crashed it into a trailer. And I don't know, Cornell, if you had a chance to see, I put out a video chasing a mountain biker about a week ago, and I used the DJI FPV. I used a Newbie Drone 6S FPV. I used a Gep RC Cinewhoop FPV, the Crown, and I used the Baby Hawk. And honestly, the one I could get through the trees and stuff the best with was the Baby Hawk, just because it was so small and nimble.
Yeah, small, nimble, and maximum control. The right power to weight ratio. 2.5 years of going through this thing, and it was a journey. But
That's awesome.
It's the product I'm most excited for. Absolutely.
So do you get to keep all those prototypes?
Yeah. So I got them. I fly them. They're fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. You have like a very unique, kind of like Doc over there, except you didn't have to build it. You had a team build it for you.
Yeah. I kind of do it on my own. I get the bandsaw out, the jigsaw out, and the skill saw out.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely that size. So also the other guy who's in here kind of helping us monitor audio, Chris.
Hey, Ken.
He's the one who made the video that I sent to you yesterday with the Hawk Pro review. So the Hawk Pro, I have to say I really love how it flies. It's bigger. It is a bottom mounted battery, which again, not that's not my favorite.
It's a racer drone,
and
what they prefer.
And man, if you guys put a digital on that,
yeah, it's definitely something we think about. I can't say yes or no, obviously, but the direction of what we're trying to do, though, in general, is we're trying to supply more FAA legal drones is the direction we want to go.
Going smaller.
So it's just about going smaller and things. So Baby Hawk 2 HD, and then whatever happens after that. But I think this is a class that we're going to be committing to a lot of, and things like 5-inch and things. To be honest, with action cameras getting smaller, right? Like the Instago and things, I do see 5-inch. Its place in the FPV industry is definitely dwindling. It's going to be more of a place for racers that kind of grandfathered into that, but I think the overall direction is shifting away from that.
Well, and I've said this numerous times. I was kind of shocked that DJI, when they put out their FPV, they put out a big honker 6S beast.
I didn't expect that.
I really thought it would be a smaller, more sort of. I mean, it's definitely beginner friendly because of all its stabilization, but you need space to fly that thing. I mean, you can't fly that. You can't fly that in the in the backyard like you can with the.
I think you need something bigger than a football field too.
I was thinking their Mavic Mini or something, because that's their 250-gram legal drone.
Yeah.
Just make it a race version. I feel that would have been a really good direction to go.
And that's still maybe what they do. I mean, maybe they just wanted to put so much as a V2, but maybe they just wanted to put so much. I mean, there's so many. As Doc was saying when he first flew the FPV. It's almost, there's a learning curve to it because there's so much. It's kind of complicated, I mean, you said what were you were in sport mode and
I was in sport mode. It took me 2 to 3 minutes just to get it to move because it wasn't responding the way I expected it to. And then once we figured out what I was doing wrong and I figured out what it wanted as far as control input, then I was able to fly it around. And in sport mode, let me tell you what, that thing flat gets with the program. When you push that stick full forward, it moves right on along. I mean, it's fast. And being that it's that fast, it's got a lot of weight behind it. So you've
A lot of
got
inertia.
to really be ready for it if you need to turn it or stop it, because it's not going to turn as quick as you think.
Although we did talk about the brake,
Yes.
the emergency brake on it. I don't know, Cornell, have you flown one?
It's the old crack
I
button.
haven't flown one yet, but the emergency brake I hear is a really good move for a lot of beginners.
Yeah,
I
able to
will
bail
say
out.
it does work the way it's advertised. You push that button, that thing comes to a screeching halt right there.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy.
And that's funny because we were talking earlier about the Evo 2, which you hold it back up a second.
Yeah, we've got the Evo 2 here. This thing is a honking beast.
It does not come to a screeching stop.
No, this one's more like stopping a Mack truck. Fully loaded.
In fairness, I mean the GPS on it is good, and it can hold, but it does not come to the kind of stop that you might be used to with like a Mavic. But and so Cornell, have you guys ever considered putting GPS into any of your FPV quads?
Definitely something like we've toyed with. The hard part is if we put GPS, I think like the marketing tactic we'd go is like this is a long range drone, but with things like FAA and technically long range, you need a spotter at all times. It gets into a really gray area. So it's something we're still trying to figure what's the balance here.
Well, see, like in the FPV drone world, we've got iNav, and iNav has all of that incorporated into it. iNav is a branch of Betaflight, from the original Clean Flight. So iNav went the direction of more of the GPS position thing, where Betaflight went more of the freestyle side. So iNav will do everything that a Mavic Mini will do. It has return to home, it has position hold, it has altitude hold.
Yeah.
It'll do all of that. You just have to set it up. It has to have the GPS module attached and a barometer. So I'm at a loss as to why more companies aren't doing that style without the collision sensors. Just giving that position hold and the return to home. That's a solid position hold and return to home.
Yeah.
So
it's
available.
And that's definitely where we want to go. Like the Easy Pilot drone is definitely like that, where we're trying to like get into that more mass market, user friendly experience. And that's still something we're trying to like study and learn and figure out how to improve in that realm. But things like a larger GPS drone and things, things get a lot more complicated when you get to that point. And then also for EMAX, like we're structured more for larger number products. So if it's like a very niche product that we're experimenting with, it's a lot more of a gamble, and it'll be a lot more difficult to offer it at an affordable price that we're kind of known for.
Well, and I think the sort of mid-level GPS drone market is pretty saturated, as far as, I mean, there's a lot of, if you get outside of obviously DJI and outside of maybe Unique and Parrot and Evo, there's some that are right below that tier, the JJRCs and the, they're kind of like high-end toys. And most of those just aren't that great. I have been flying. I was sent one to review, and I've had a hard time getting the GPS to hold on it. It just floats all over the place, and it's like if you're not going to. People are so used to GPS working so well that when it doesn't work well, it just totally throws you off.
It's frustrating. It's like a negative user experience.
I'd rather just not have it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'll bet you, Cornell, that if you took a survey of everyone watching right now, I'll bet you more than half the people in this audience own an EMAX product, like own one of the Tiny Hawks, or own, started flying with the Tiny Hawk, or started flying with, or maybe just even a component or something.
I got a lot of components. I got a ton of motors.
I mean, the Tiny Hawk, honestly, is the thing that is getting so many people into flying FPV. My only, and I love the Tiny Hawk too. I really do. That thing is just so much of a little beast. It's
Kelly,
fun to fly.
Didn't you get the freestyle one also?
Yeah, the freestyle is great too.
Because I've got one of those.
But And Chris Hope flies a freestyle, and actually, I think Chris Sunrise Water Media started off flying a freestyle for FPV. But the thing is, once you go to digital, it's so hard to go back to analog, you know. And Doc's a hardcore analog guy because he understands antennas and signal path. I wish you had. Oh, well, show him the antenna on that thing. He builds these.
Yeah, I build my own antennas because I understand how they work. So this is tuned. I mean, it's
tune it for a specific channel.
Yeah, well, not a channel, but it's cut for a specific frequency and for a specific reason and how to do it. You know, when you build these things, you can't get them exact. So I cut them for the high end on 5900, and in the process of building it, you know, you don't assemble it exactly perfect, so you end up with a frequency lower than what you were aiming for. So I end up around 58 to 5850, which is dead center of the FPV band. Most of your mass-produced antennas, they try to cut them for the middle of the band, but in the process of mass-producing, they end up down low. And some of them I've seen as bad as down to around 5600 megahertz. Yeah. And then when you try to use it on one of the high frequencies, you know, like 59, they're completely mismatched.
Doesn't work.
And you get horrible range.
Yeah.
So Mel 400 AGL, you know, and Lloyd Mendenhall got a chance to see how these look. And they were completely amazed at how clear and clean the analog video was, the feed, compared to what they were used to getting with commercial antennas. And I told them it has to do with cutting the antennas to the right frequency, you know, and hand making them. I mean, they take a little while to make. They're not easy. So, but they do work, and that's the whole point. You know, if you get a good set of antennas, it doesn't matter what you're flying, whether it's video or whether it's control link. If you've got the antennas matched and everything's working correctly, you're going to get a lot better signal, both ends.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also just want to give a quick shout out to Dennis Lovelady, who just joined the flight crew. I've known Dennis for a long time. He is part of that crew that does the morning sunrise shots across the country, going all the way from California. Well, I guess starting actually in the east, going to the west. But thank you, Dennis. Great. And also I want to say hey to Jerry. Thank you for the super chat. Jerry's the one who runs the drone interest group.
Yeah, we're going to get to see Jerry tomorrow.
And he's coming down.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, he's coming down tomorrow.
And then I see Ken Heron. He asked what us whack-a-moles are doing here. Yep. So
that's it, man.
so
and if Ken's still watching, the eyeballs are awesome.
they do help detract birds, right?
Yep, they keep the birds away.
That's the idea. Well, one other question, Cornell, as far as when you're coming up with the new design, you built these props specifically. Is it pronounced Avon or Aven?
It's technically Avon, but like it's hard to pronounce.
So the Avon props. These are 3.5 inch, right?
Yes.
And what's different about these? Because they really seem, again, this thing is more maneuverable than just about any other FPV drone I've flown. And I don't have the experience that Doc has, but for me, it's just like, wow, this is a new level. What's different about those?
Well, so they do run off of the Avon scimitar design. So the design,
that's the name of the design. It sounds like an evil robot.
Yeah, the scimitar, yes.
Yeah, this he got like the Avon flows and other props, and they all had like a different design goal. The scimitars, that entire series of props, the design goal was built around still keeping our signature linear response. So by linear response, it's like some propellers, they kind of have a throttle curve based on like the motor. For us, we try to linearize the throttle curve of a motor and try to make it as responsive as possible.
More even and less of a curve.
So it's more like that
at the low end, and some props are better at the high end. So trying to get them to be good all the way through is difficult.
Right, and that's where the Avons and the scimitars try to linearize that for maximum performance and efficiency. But what makes the scimitars different than the previous propellers was the emphasis on flight time. because efficiency is one thing, flight time is a different thing, two completely different things. But the scimitars were geared more so for flight time, as we found that that's really what people want. People just, when they're in the air, they don't want to land, So that's where you're hitting those 8, 9, 20-minute flight times on the Baby Hawk right here. So that's kind of the idea behind the Scimitar series, and that applies to the 5-inch props and the 4-inch props that we have in that.
But these props you can buy for other quads? I mean, I guess you can buy them just as a standalone piece, right? A component.
Yeah, so we were selling the props for at least a year, actually more than a year for sure. Yeah, almost 2 years. But the thing is we released the prop early because we were going through so much R&D and we're just sitting on these props, so people didn't really know what to do with them. But that was really just a teaser for what we were working on for the past 2.5 years. And now that people actually understand the purpose of the 3.5-inch props, I definitely expect there's going to be a whole new class of FPV drones. And I have heard that some of our competitors are creating their own 3.5-inch props now. Zorko262 said, I need backup props because I'm scared I'm going to destroy my only set. Funny thing, actually, Cornell, is I think the first thing I asked you when I received it was, can I get more props, please? and
it's always the way it is.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I can't.
They're coming soon.
I can't do this with 4 props.
We have the restock coming by end of month, if not already.
Okay.
Latest it'll be next week. So they're coming. Definitely the demand just spiked like crazy, so we kind of got cleared out.
Has it sold well?
Yeah. I mean, the Baby Hawk 2 HD has definitely been exploding.
Yeah.
And it exceeded our expectations, actually.
Yeah. And as someone who has an affiliate link, I appreciate that. it's always nice when you're hawking a product that you actually really, really love and really enjoy. And so, not to say that if I say I enjoy it, I do. We were talking about that at dinner earlier.
Yep.
Is that just because somebody bashes a product doesn't mean they're honest necessarily. But you just have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt and look at who the person is. What is it they're after? What are they doing? But for me, if you're getting into FPV, HD FPV, and you want something that is just small, super fun, and can carry an action camera, that I can't say enough good things about the Baby Hawk. It's a blast.
Honestly, came at the perfect time because, we were preparing for the release, and like you said, you were flying the DJI FPV drone around that time. So I definitely expect there's going to be first-time FPV pilots that are now in that DJI ecosystem.
Yeah. And
they're going to be looking for something new to level up with. So I think the timing of this coincidentally ended up being perfect.
Hey, and we just got a super chat from my brother Brad from Virginia, and so I just want to show these guns one more time.
I just got to tell him not to fall out of his chair.
For everyone that missed this before, Brad's been working out, so just saying. So yeah, and the cool thing about it, really, I mean, it was so much fun to fly the DJI FPV and experience that. I mean, it is very powerful. It makes a really loud, roaring noise. It sounds like a friggin' jet as it goes overhead. And I don't know if you guys saw, Doc, did you see the video where my son held the radar gun?
Yes, and I watched that. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you guys did right by hiding behind the chain link fence.
Hiding behind a chain link fence, trying to see how fast. And I got it up to 75 or something, or 70.
That thing moves.
And that's me, pretty mediocre FPV pilot flying an acro, trying to see how fast I can get it going. But then you flip over to the Baby Hawk, and it's just like this quiet little thing that just zips around like a little pixie. You should have called it a pixie, because it's just such a different experience. And I don't really feel like one is better than the other. It's like, hey, I want to own its place. I want to own a Ferrari and a monster truck. All right, I want both of those things.
That's right.
Doc just wants a monster truck. He told me
that. We are good with the trucks.
But would you be okay with a Ferrari? You'd be okay with a Ferrari,
I'd
right?
drive it once in a while.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Lamborghini Countach 5000 SC.
You haven't thought about it much. Anyway, no, it really was just a cool experience to have those two, 6S versus 4S. And I do think that so many people who have started flying a 5-inch quad are going to 6S, but 4S is just really for a beginner. It's really just such it just opens up so many more places you can fly safely, in my opinion.
Well, it does two things, because on 4S you can get a wide variety of sizes of batteries for a wide variety of sizes of quads. 4S is more than powerful enough to do everything from cruising around to really punching holes in the sky. It will do both. So, 4S is a good place to start.
And the batteries are cheaper.
And the batteries are very much readily available and at a good price.
6S batteries are a little bit harder to find,
Yep.
a little bit, definitely more expensive, and for some reason they seem to be the ones that I always chop. I don't ever chop my 4Ss.
Really? That's interesting.
I am going to put a quick little plug out. I don't think they're on, but Ethan and Original Dobo have created this thing. Have you seen it? It's a little case that goes around.
Oh yeah. Ken was showing me. He was printing some when I visited with him.
So they sent me some, and I think they're at my house. I never made it. I was going to go home today earlier before I never made it home. We're actually stuck in a garage. I don't know if you can tell, Cornell, but this is actually a
we took
Honda
over the
dealership.
local mobile gas station, with the bay.
Yeah. But I was thinking about that. I was like, someone should come up with some kind of a little sleeve that you can put around your FPV battery that protects it, because so many times those batteries take a beating. Oh yeah. In a crash or whatever. As a matter of fact, Cornell, you sent me a couple of the EMAX 850s, which are great batteries.
Yeah.
I have the very same size in a race day quad. Are they? Do you think they're basically the same battery?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Could be.
I mean, aside from the label, they look exactly the same. But for some reason, the Baby Hawk like to chew up the EMAX ones more than the race day quads ones. So
Probably don't taste as good.
Yeah. Well, and that leads me to a question that for both you guys, and I'd really like your opinion on this. I tend to be like my MO is I'm usually about convenience over perfection in a lot of cases. Like if something's just like, for example, my buddy Vinny, who was on this show last week, he took his Phantom 4 to Iceland. I'm like, why did you take a whole Phantom 4? Why don't you just get something that folds and is small?
Yeah.
No, I need the mechanical shutter and the 4K 60 and blah blah blah.
Lord.
Anyway, I'm like, dude, you're traveling and you're okay. So for me, I'm always about like if it's not that big of a difference and one is way easier, that's my personality. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that's so. How come you guys can't add just like a 1/4 inch to the arms on that thing, so that everything doesn't get chopped? It's like you've got to batten down the hatches on pretty much across the board on EMAX drones. I found this to be the case, especially on the Freestyle. Like the Freestyle will chew the shit out of chew the heck out of everything.
Sure everything is zip tied very tight. Yes.
Go ahead, Cornell.
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
You're talking like the antennas and things and just how they're held down?
No, I'm talking about the propellers coming so close to the wires.
It's the gap of the prop tips to the frame and to where the wires are at the edge.
Okay, yeah.
I had to do the same thing. I had to put zip ties right at the edge of the frame to make sure that the motor wires stayed down, and I had to add an extra zip tie to the antenna to keep it out of the prop.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Just little things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we keep our designs a little tight because we do try to. Yeah, it's a lot of its weight and like efficiency and stuff like that. Like every little bit counts. So like, yeah, there's an element of like over engineering in some aspects. I definitely get that. But I get the feedback.
Even when I put I was using a strap. By the way, Doc, you'll appreciate this. It had a plastic buckle, and Chris scolded me. He's like, Doc says you should use metal buckles.
Yes.
And so it was a little strap to hold the the go on it, and the prop, as soon as I took off, it's hitting the buckle, you know. So I took a zip tie and I wrapped it around like a belt, and I squeezed it and I pulled it under the frame, actually, you know, in the gap between the two stacks, and that worked. But I'm just like, man, if this had like an eighth of an inch more, you know, a millimeter more of tolerance, or I guess less tolerance. Anyway, just I'm not really bashing on you. I'm just saying that seems to be you guys really do make everything really tight, and if anything's out of place, it's gonna get nicked.
Yeah, and that's just it's part of it is just our design goal of like trying to maximize like every spec,
least amount of wire possible.
Yeah, least amount of wire, save weight. You know, if we can like lessen screws, like but while also keeping things as durable as possible. So things like durability and weight go hand in hand. Like those little bit of weight that you're shaving off, that actually lends to increasing the durability of the product.
Fair point.
So it's so many, like, it's a balancing act.
It's like anything else that flies, you know.
Right.
Everything's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You know, you give up a little bit of weight, you give up a little bit of strength. If you bring the strength back, you bring the weight back, and that translates into slightly less flight time or slightly less performance, or both.
Exactly.
Which is why astronauts can't take beer on the space shuttle.
Really? They banned that? That's funny.
Yeah, I know, because the last time I thought they took some. Yeah.
So Doc, when you build your quads, like a home build, do you find yourself leaving a little extra space for things, or
always?
Do you okay? That's
always
more of a personal
just as
preference.
an example, you know, when I built this one, the original design on this was a 5-inch, so the 5-inch motors were tucked right against the actual TPU canopy parts here, and the props would tuck. The front prop literally swung under the camera. Well, when I did this as a 7-inch, I didn't want to have the 7-inch prop swinging right under the camera. I wanted it a little more, you know, I just wanted that a little bit of elbow room.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it gives me a little bit of leeway for when I want to do something, or for if it does hit something, it's not going to tear everything up when when a prop comes around and, you know, after it's been bent. It's just going to bang into the side of the motor. And I actually had that happen on the front prop out in Florida. I got a little too close to the ground, caught the battery because it isn't underslung, and it tucked the frame down. The front prop hit, bent the blade down. Blade came around and stopped right here against the frame. But yet it didn't hurt anything else. It just flipped the quad over. So I went and picked it up, straightened the prop out, set it back, and went up and flew it again.
Mel said, just cut a 1/4 inch off the prop.
I've done that a few times, but not intentionally.
Fly natural with the
Full nose.
with the sticker. I think that's called a sticker.
But yeah, that was the whole point in my thinking when I put this one together, is that I wanted that little bit of elbow room because it didn't need to be super tight. I was already well under. I have a Project 399 DRL practice rig that is a 7-inch. It weighs 1,000 grams with a 5S battery on it. When I put this together, even though it's slightly bigger than that DRL rig, it weighs 300 grams lighter.
Jeez,
it's that's much
crazy.
lighter. And this uses a 5S battery as well, but it uses a 5S 1500 instead of a 5S 2200, which is what the DRL rig uses. But if I cruise this around, you know, gently, you know, just give it a nice floating flying session, I'm still getting 6 minutes of flight time out of this. Where my DRL rig, if I cruise around with it, I get about 7. But if I put it under load, this gets about 3 minutes. The DRL rig gets about 3.5 minutes. So they're about equal in performance as far as flight times are concerned. What's different is the handling difference because of the weight difference. So that's the difference in designs, you know, when you're looking at the different things. Most of mine, I don't go for trying to get them as light as possible to get them as performance enhanced. I kind of go for a middle ground because I still want some of that durability built into it. So that's the reason why I built this the way I did. I could have gone with a monoplate like the original, but that would have cost a lot, and it would have taken quite a bit of time, and there would have been a lot of wasted carbon. So by going with individual arms, it saved a lot of time and a lot of weight, that would have been wasted, and it's still just as durable.
Yeah.
So those are always the trade-offs when you're designing and building your own.
Exactly.
You got to kind of decide what you want it to do versus what it's going to weigh and how it's going to perform when you're doing it.
And don't get me wrong, my comment about the tolerances wasn't. I mean, it's a pretty minor thing. It's just one of those things where
it's the user experience,
correct.
And I totally get that, and we definitely try to strive towards user experience, but again, the whole battle is when it comes to user experience, there's also always trade-offs, here and there, and it's just well, what do you want to give? Do you want to give people the better flight experience or the better on the ground experience with fiddling a strap? And it's there's things in that you have to account for, and we tend to gravitate more towards flight performance because that's why people are buying the product.
By the way, Cornell, I've never heard it called fiddling a strap. I really like that, though. I'm going to use that term. I think actually Chris Waters might write a country song about it. Fiddling a strap.
Well, I don't know. Gary, the everyday dad, kind of uses the fiddliness a lot. So.
By the way, I saw Lloyd in the chat.
Yeah, Lloyd the Grumpy Vlogger.
Throw a picture of Lloyd up there. There's Lloyd flying Doc's rig, I think.
No, he was actually flying his Mavic Air, if I remember correctly.
Well, big shout out to Lloyd. Yep. My favorite person from Muskogee, Oklahoma.
I had a great visit with him while I was up there.
Oh, by the way, Lloyd, we were debating whether it's Muskogee or Muskogee. So, what did you say? You said
I said Muskegee because
Muskegee.
I was thinking Tuskegee.
Oh, okay.
So,
anyway, sorry. The trick, though, I think with it is, like you said, I've learned, especially with FPV quads, is you've got to arm them and listen and just see, is anything hitting? Because you could really hear it. And that sound when it's not hitting, and especially when you have new props on, that first time you arm it. Because I remember that was something I was really impressed with the freestyle when
they're very smooth and clean,
real quiet, it's not a rattly sound. It's just kind of a shh.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Noise is a big thing in propeller aerodynamics. Generally, the quieter the prop, the more efficient they are. So that's why we really focus on efficiency and maximizing the performance out of the motors, and that's kind of what lends to that really quiet nature of him.
There's always a trade-off when you go to do that. I mean, there really is.
What should people be looking out for? I realize you can't tell us what EMAX is coming out with, but you think you guys might do some more digitals down the line?
Oh, absolutely. Digital, I do believe, is the future. I think analog still has a place, mainly because of size and cost. So that will always be a thing.
Size, cost, and dock.
Right, but pilots who want that premium FPV experience, the full-blown immersion that analog cannot offer, I mean, HD is the best we're gonna get.
Yeah. I mean, until they're doing 4K drones, right?
Pretty much.
Probably, and then 8K, and who knows what.
Well, I mean, I will say probably the closest to a tiny whoop with the digital that I've flown is the iFlight Alpha 85. Have you seen that one? But it doesn't fly that well. Honestly, it doesn't fly as well as, and I'm not just saying this because it's you. It doesn't fly as well as a Tiny Hawk. It doesn't fly. It flies okay.
Well, again, it comes back to the weight versus performance.
Exactly.
There's always that trade-off.
Yeah, that's why, again, this was 3.5 inch. We experiment with other sizes. We tried 2 inch, 2.5, 3 inch, and nothing was working. And that's where we literally made up our new class of 3.5 inch props, because 4 inch, then we were hitting over the 250 gram mark. 3.5 really is the biggest you can get carrying an HD payload while still staying under 250 grams.
At least until they make them smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
And that thing, I mean, the Baby Hawk, again, it does fly similarly to, you don't feel like you're flying a tiny quad. You feel like you're flying a 5-inch quad. I mean, it really, it has the same kind of, I remember actually Ken Dono was the first person to let me fly a 6S quad, and I had been flying a ducted Gep RC rocket, which is a great little quad, especially when you're starting out because of the ducts. You know, it allows you, not ducts, ducts. I have to say that. My wife's always like, it has ducts on it? What is that?
It's got to have a T, yeah.
The ducted propellers. It lets you run into stuff, and you don't have to, you know, it makes it more durable and easier to just pick it up or turtle mode it and flip it over. But he let me fly that 6S, and I was just like, whoa, this is so smooth and so powerful. And so I got Newbie Drones has a it's the Vivid frame. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but it's fantastic. It really I really, it's a very flat quad. But the Baby Hawk had that same kind of feeling to it, that same kind of just smoothness and grace about it. So I'm gushing a bit. It's like my baby.
I was gushing this whole time. I mean, I love this drone. It's all I fly too. I don't fly 5-inch anymore.
And so with the new cameras too. I mean, honestly, I don't have the new Insta360 Go, the new one, because it's higher resolution. Those things are game changers when it comes to these little quads. The original one is fantastic. The only problems with it really, and you guys probably already know this, is the 5 minutes max time limitation.
Max on it,
And then I remember when it came out, it only did like 1 minute. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. And then they upgraded to 5, and I ended up getting one.
Yeah, they fixed that pretty quick. I think it was like a month, and they had that fixed.
But you also, the only way you can tell it's on, every clip that I have of myself with the Baby Hawk with that camera on it is like me staring at it and looking for the little light to see if it's on. The new one I think talks to a little remote, so you can start and stop it with the case.
Really nice,
and so you can set it down, you can start it, you can see it's running, and you can fly. You don't have to pick it up and do that little
That's
dance.
nice.
And it goes for 15 minutes, so you could get a full battery, you know, on a long range quad. So I feel like those cameras are going to make a big difference. And then do you think DJI is going to come out with the V2 of the Air unit that's smaller, or do you think they're just passing that off for now?
I'm not sure. Like, this is like rumor mill, but I heard it was like maybe more like legal reasons as to why they had the Air unit.
I heard that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
it sounds about right.
Why would they have to end the Air unit but not other stuff?
Well, because DJI is a big target for governments to go after versus, you know, sending it off through a small, you know, third party, you know, Caddx, and having them deal with everything. And they're too small for, you know, politicians to go after, really.
Is Caddx Chinese as well?
Yeah. They're based in China.
Okay. Well, but again, I guess I don't get it, because it seems like the Air unit was a small part of their business and wouldn't be something that most, you know, political people or whoever's going after them would go after. They go after the drones.
It might be something to do with either the chipset or some of the software and how it was procured or designed or where.
Because of it being American and Chinese parts mixed together or something. Yeah.
Could be.
So we'll know more as time goes on, you know, as we learn more about it. So
exactly.
One other quick thing. Did you guys hear that you'll be able to, starting April 7th, or I think it's the 6th, you'll be able to do your Part 107 recurrent online?
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what they're aiming for, last I heard.
I think it's official.
According to Jason Chappert when he was on Ken Herg's show. So, but that may get pushed back again. They've been sliding the start point here pretty regularly. So,
well, I know with COVID there was a lot of the testing centers were shut down, right? And so and that seems like the kind of thing that you could, especially if you're recurrent, do online. But I was very excited because mine's coming up, and I'm like, I don't have to go to a testing center. I can just do it online. That would be cool.
That's nice.
Yeah. Well, we have gone hour.
Hour.
With our ducted
Absolutely.
propellers Cornell, man, thank you again. Sorry for all the little audio glitches there at the beginning, but we got it sorted. And
that's
honestly,
live streaming.
And yeah, this I can really see the power of being able to use this switcher the way we did. But but again, I just got this and I'm still learning some stuff on it. But dude, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't checked out my review of the little Baby Hawk HD, go watch it. It's really it's a fun video. I spent
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed, Cornell, did you see it floating over my shoulder at the beginning? I actually got a turntable, one of those little product turntables, and I covered it in green paper, and then I put green tape around it, and I then put it in front of a green screen. I wish I don't have it handy. I could pull it up, but basically, and then I keyed it out, so it's just hovering over my shoulder at the first beginning of the video.
I see that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Yeah. I tried to make it subtle, and I don't think very many people caught it because I was
I didn't catch it.
I was really proud of that, but yeah. So that's another thing you can do. It's magic. The little drone that's magic. Well, by the way, guys, if you want a sweet shirt like this, you can get them on EMAX's website. I love this shirt. As I said, I think I told you my daughter had stolen this for a while. I actually have to about every 2 weeks go up to my kids' rooms and get all my clothes
all your shirts back.
Yeah. She gave away a flight crew shirt to one of her friends.
I have the same problem with my granddaughters doing stuff like that.
I'm like, dude, he's not in the flight crew. He doesn't get a shirt. Anyway, well, thank you guys, everyone. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jerry, Dennis, Mike, Brad,
And Lloyd, I will get with you on what
Mel,
FPV rig to start with.
Michael, all you guys. Yeah, thank you guys. Joe Blaylock, I see you in there. Thank you guys for joining tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I have a very big show next week for First Friday because it will be First Friday next week, I believe. What is today?
Yes, I think it will.
And I promise next week I'll be giving some stuff away too, so be sure to tune in for that.
And for everybody that's showing up tomorrow, see you there.
Yes. New Bromfuls are bust.
That's it.
Cornell, thanks, buddy.
Awesome
Have a
to
good
be
one,
here,
Cornell.
man. It was awesome.
So glad to have you. Take care.